Two of the biggest status symbols money can buy, a private jet and a super yacht. And right now, on your screen, sit two numbers, $9,800 a day, $6,200 a day. One of those is what it actually costs to keep a private jet running every single day, whether it flies or not. The other is what it costs to keep a super yacht running every single day, whether it leaves the dock or not. Most people assume the yacht is the bigger money pit because it looks bigger, it sits in the water looking expensive, and everyone has a mental image of a super yacht burning cash. They are wrong. And the reason they are wrong is actually the more interesting story here, so stick with this one. Because the gap between these two numbers comes down to something almost nobody thinks about when they picture owning either of these. Let us set the stage properly first. We are not comparing some tiny four-seat prop plane to a dinghy with a cabin. We are comparing two assets in the same wealth tier, the kind of purchase a person makes once they have already outgrown the entry-level version of each toy. On the aviation side, that is a large cabin private jet, the class of aircraft that can fly coast to coast without stopping, seat 10 to 14 people in real comfort, and cost somewhere around $35 million to buy outright. On the water side, that is a super yacht in the neighborhood of 130 feet, crewed, capable of crossing an ocean, and priced around $20 million to buy outright. Different price tags, sure, but close enough in prestige and capability that comparing what it costs to simply own each one, day in and day out, actually tells you something real. So here is the first thing that surprises almost everyone. A jet does not need to leave the ground to cost you money. Neither does a yacht need to leave the dock. Both of these assets bleed cash, sitting perfectly still. And that is the entire premise of this video. We are not talking about the cost of a single flight or a single cruise. We are talking about the baseline cost of simply owning the thing, spread across every day of the year, whether you use it or not. Start with the jet, because this is where the bigger number lives, and where most people underestimate just how many separate expenses are quietly running at the same time. Fuel is the obvious one, and it is a genuinely enormous number for a large cabin jet. An aircraft in this class burns fuel at a rate that can run $2,700 an hour or more once you get into the heavier, longer range end of the category. And some ultra-long-range aircraft push past $4,000 an hour. Even a jet that only flies 250 hours a year, which is a realistic number for a busy owner, is looking at well over $1 million in fuel alone. That is one line item, and it already rivals what most people picture as the entire cost of owning a small business. Then there is the crew. A large cabin jet does not fly itself, and it typically needs two pilots at a minimum, often with a flight attendant for a cabin this size. Combined salaries, benefits, and mandatory recurring training for a crew like that commonly land somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 a year. That crew gets paid whether the jet flies once a month or every single day, because pilots need to stay current and the aircraft needs to stay ready. Maintenance is next, and this is where a lot of first-time jet buyers get blindsided. Scheduled inspections, parts, and the engine reserve programs that owners pay into to cover the eventual cost of an overhaul can easily run close to $1 million a year on a large aircraft. Jets are not cars. There is no skipping an oil change and hoping for the best. Every inspection is mandatory, tracked, and expensive, because the entire industry is built around the fact that mechanical failure at 35,000 feet is not something you get a second chance at. Add in hangar space, which for a large aircraft in a desirable location can run well over $100,000 a year, insurance that typically lands somewhere between $50,000 and $85,000 annually for an aircraft this size, and then landing fees, handling fees, scheduling software, and management company oversight, and you are looking at a total annual number that regularly lands between $3 million and $4 million for a large cabin jet flying a normal owner's schedule. Spread that across 365 days, and you land almost exactly on that $9,800 a day figure from the top of this video. And remember, that number does not care if the jet actually flew that day. The crew still got paid. The hangar bill still came due. The insurance clock kept ticking. Now here is the rehook, because this is the part that makes jets uniquely brutal compared to almost any other asset a wealthy person can own. Jets lose value fast, especially in the first few years, often losing a meaningful chunk of their purchase price within the first 5 years alone, well before the mechanical condition would suggest they should. That depreciation is not in the daily operating number we just walked through. It is a separate bleed happening in the background the entire time you own the aircraft, on top of the $9,800 already leaving your account every single day. Here is a number that makes all of this concrete. Break the jet's annual cost down to a per flight hour figure instead of a per day figure, and a large cabin aircraft like this typically costs somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 for every single hour it spends in the air. Once fuel, crew, maintenance reserves, and everything else gets folded in. Fly it for a 2-hour trip to close a deal or grab a weekend somewhere warm, and that one round trip alone can cost more than most people's monthly rent. And that cost exists whether the aircraft is carrying one passenger or 10, whether it is a business trip or a birthday party, because almost none of these expenses scale down with fewer people on board. So that is the jet side. Big number, and an even bigger hidden number sitting underneath it. Now flip to the yacht, because this is where the comparison gets genuinely interesting, and where the industry actually has a shortcut most owners rely on. Yacht owners and brokers use something called the 10% rule, and it is remarkably consistent across the industry. Budget somewhere between 10 and 15% of a yacht's purchase price every single year just to keep it running. For our 130-foot yacht at $20 million, that lands the annual operating cost somewhere around $2,250,000, which works out to almost exactly $6,200 a day, less than the jet, meaningfully less. And here is why, once you actually break down where that money goes. Crew is still the single biggest line item, just like the jet. And for a yacht this size, that typically means a captain, an engineer, a first mate, deckhands, a chef, and stewards, somewhere around 8 to 10 people total. Combined, crew salaries usually eat up 35 to 40% of the entire annual budget, which on our yacht lands somewhere around $850,000 a year. That is actually more people than the jet's crew of 2 or 3. But here is the part that flips the whole comparison. Those crew salaries, spread across a much larger total budget that includes dockage, fuel, insurance, and maintenance, all growing at a slower rate than an aircraft's equivalent costs, end up being a smaller overall daily burn once everything is added together. Dockage and marina fees are the next major cost, and they genuinely add up, especially in premium locations where berthing can run over $100 per foot per month. For our yacht, that lands somewhere around $300,000 a year. Fuel is real too, but here is the twist that surprises people who assume a yacht burns money the way a jet burns jet fuel. A yacht sitting at a marina or cruising at a relaxed pace instead of running at full speed constantly uses dramatically less fuel per hour of actual operation than a jet does, because water displacement simply does not demand the raw horsepower that overcoming gravity at altitude does. Yacht fuel for a boat this size typically lands somewhere around $300,000 a year, similar in raw dollars to the jet's fuel bill. But remember, the yacht's total budget is smaller, so that same fuel number represents a much bigger slice of a much smaller pie. Insurance on a yacht this size typically runs 1 to 2% of the vessel's value annually, so somewhere around $300,000 a year for our $20 million boat. And maintenance, covering everything from routine engine servicing to hull cleaning to the reserve fund every good yacht manager insists on for the inevitable refit, rounds out the budget at somewhere around $450,000 a year. Add all of that together, crew, dockage, fuel, insurance, and maintenance, and you land right around that $2,250,000 annual figure, or $6,200 a day. Genuinely less than the jet, despite carrying more than 3 times the crew and floating an asset that, at first glance, looks like the more extravagant purchase. Here is the detail that really separates the two, and it is worth pausing on. A huge portion of a yacht's annual cost is fixed, whether the boat moves or not. The crew still needs paying, the dock fee still comes due, but the variable piece, the part tied directly to actually using the asset, barely moves once you factor it in per day. A yacht sitting at the dock for a week costs almost the same as a yacht cruising gently for that same week, because fuel at a relaxed cruising speed is a small slice of the total budget. Compare that to the jet, where every single hour in the air adds $4,000 to $6,000 on top of the baseline, and you start to see the real shape of the gap. The yacht's cost is mostly a fixed subscription. The jet's cost is a fixed subscription plus a meter that keeps running every time it actually does the thing you bought it to do. So why does the plane cost more when the boat has more people on payroll and looks, to most people scrolling past a marina, like the bigger flex? It comes down to 3 things: and this is worth sitting with, because it is the actual answer to the question in the title. First, physics. Flying is simply a more energy-intensive way to move mass than floating is. Fighting gravity at 35,000 feet burns fuel at a rate nothing on the water can match, and that gap alone accounts for a huge chunk of the difference once you look at cost per hour of actual use. Second, depreciation. We touched on this already, but it deserves its own moment here. Aircraft lose value fast and predictably in their early years, a cost that never shows up in anyone's daily operating spreadsheet but is very real money, leaving an owner's net worth the entire time they hold the asset. Yachts depreciate too. Nobody is claiming otherwise, but not at the same brutal early curve that jets do, largely because the market for well-maintained yachts holds up more predictably than the market for aging aircraft with mounting maintenance obligations. Third, and this is the one almost nobody accounts for, regulatory and safety overhead. Every single component on a private jet exists inside one of the most heavily regulated safety environments on the planet, with mandatory inspection intervals, mandatory parts replacement schedules, and mandatory crew training that cannot be skipped, delayed, or done cheaper without grounding the aircraft entirely. A yacht has safety requirements too, but nothing approaching the rigor, the cost, or the zero tolerance for deferred maintenance that aviation demands, because the consequence of a failure in the air is categorically different from the consequence of a failure on the water. Put a face on this for a second, because the numbers land differently once you picture two actual owners living with them. Owner 1 buys the jet, uses it maybe twice a month for business, and treats the rest as the cost of never waiting in an airport line again. By the end of the year, they have spent somewhere north of $3.5 million, and the aircraft is already worth noticeably less than what they paid for it, before a single mechanical issue has even come up. Owner 2 buys the yacht, spends a handful of weeks a year on board, and lets it sit at the dock the rest of the time under a full-time crew. By the end of that same year, they have spent a little over $2 million, roughly a third less than the jet owner, for an asset that held its value more predictably and, per hour, actually enjoyed. Arguably delivered a more relaxed version of the same fantasy. Same tax bracket, same instinct to buy something extraordinary. Very different bills waiting at the end of the year. Now, here is where most videos on this topic would stop, with a clean verdict and a call to subscribe. But there is one more layer that changes the entire conversation for both of these assets, and it is worth understanding before anyone actually writes either of these checks. Both a private jet and a superyacht can be chartered out when the owner is not using them, and for a meaningful number of owners, this is not a side hustle. It is the entire strategy that makes ownership make sense in the first place. A jet placed on an approved charter certificate can generate real revenue every time it flies a paying passenger, instead of sitting in the hangar. And that income gets split between the owner and the management company running the charter operation. The same is true for a yacht, where an owner can charter the boat out for a portion of the year, often during peak season in a location like the Mediterranean or the Caribbean, at rates that can run tens of thousands of dollars per week before expenses. This does not erase the daily cost numbers we just walked through, but it does mean the real-world math for a lot of owners looks less like $9,800 a day disappearing into nothing, and more like $9,800 a day of cost, with some portion offset by charter revenue on the days the asset would otherwise have been sitting idle anyway. It is the same logic that turns a boring rental property into a business instead of just an expense, applied to two of the most expensive toys on the planet. There is one last angle worth mentioning before the verdict, because it explains why some owners end up choosing the more expensive asset anyway, with their eyes wide open. Liquidity and resale work differently for the two. A well-maintained yacht in the right size and condition tends to have a deeper, steadier pool of buyers, especially in the charter-friendly range, where a boat can pay part of its own way, which means an owner looking to sell in a few years generally has an easier time finding a buyer at a fair price. A private jet, by contrast, can sit on the resale market for months, sometimes over a year, particularly if the model is not one of the handful of aircraft that hold demand consistently, and sellers in a hurry often have to drop price meaningfully to move it. So the jet is not just more expensive to run every single day, it is also generally a harder asset to exit cleanly when the owner is ready to move on, which compounds the daily gap we have been walking through this entire video into a bigger gap in total cost of ownership over a typical 5 to 7 year hold. None of that changes the appeal for the people who buy jets anyway. Time is the one thing money cannot manufacture more of, and a private jet solves a problem a yacht simply does not, getting a person from one place to another in a fraction of the time commercial travel would take. landing at smaller airports closer to where they actually need to be, on a schedule nobody else controls. That convenience has a price. And now you know almost exactly what that price is, down to the dollar every single day, whether the aircraft leaves the ground or not. So let us land the actual verdict, because that is what you came here for. Per day, a large cabin private jet costs more to simply own than a comparable tier super yacht, $9,800 against $6,200, a gap of roughly $3,600 every single day, whether either asset moves an inch or not. Over a full year, that gap alone adds up to well over $1 million in additional cost for the jet, on top of an already massive base number. The reason comes down to the raw physics of flight, a depreciation curve that punishes aircraft far harder than boats in the early years of ownership, and a regulatory environment that leaves zero room for the kind of deferred maintenance a yacht owner can sometimes get away with for a season. None of this means a yacht is cheap. $6,200 a day is more than most households spend on housing in an entire month. But relative to the plane, dollar for dollar, day for day, the boat is the more efficient way to burn a fortune. And that is the twist sitting underneath almost every conversation about ultra-wealthy spending. The asset that looks more extravagant from the outside is not always the one actually costing more behind the scenes. Sometimes the quieter number, sitting there at $6,200 a day instead of $9,800, is actually where the real money is disappearing all along, just slower and with a lot less attention paid to it. Stack the two side by side one more time before we close this out. $9,800 a day for the jet against $6,200 a day for the yacht. Over a single year, that is roughly $3,600,000 against roughly $2,200,000. Over a 5-year hold, factoring in that steeper early depreciation curve on the aircraft, the total gap between the two easily clears $10 million before either owner has sold anything or dealt with a single unexpected repair. That is not a rounding error. That is an entire second yacht's worth of difference, sitting quietly in the space between two purchases that, from a distance, look like they belong to the exact same lifestyle. If there is one thing worth taking away from comparing these two, it is this. Owning either of these assets was never really about the sticker price on the day you bought it. It was always about the number quietly ticking upward every single day after that, whether anyone was watching or not. The plane looks faster and feels more exclusive. The boat looks bigger and feels more indulgent. But the actual math, the number leaving the bank account every single day of the year, tells a quieter story than either of those first impressions. And now you know exactly which one it is.